Hey, I'm Sol Procter. I thought I'd just walk you through the production of my new song, Disease. So let's get into it. So here is the song file for Disease. This is the final one that got printed and everything. So in the start of Disease, I'm not getting better, I'm just trying. It's pretty chilled out. There's it's happening, but it's not into it. So, but there's a lot of layers in this, which is I think what really helps the atmosphere. I'll walk through the vocals later, so we'll just start with the atmosphere that we've got in here. It starts off with this kind of chorusy guitar. It's kind of giving like a Nirvana kind of chorus. I don't really know what I was going for, but it kind of works. And I haven't really done much of this. I've boosted the volume actually, as you can see down here, which is the channel mixer. All of the guitars in this song, and pretty much every song I produce, is Morgan Amp Suite. I love it. It's fantastic. So the preset on here is called Blue Hotel. It's just in the Neural DSP. Modified it a bit because, for me at least, the presets in a lot of Neural DSP stuff, it's really dark. I don't think that works for me. So I just brighten up a bit. It's got a doubler on. And then after this, just the default Studio One chorus. Well, not default. Once again, preset modified. Without any of that, it just sounds like this. Still interesting, but it's giving less ethereal than it has with the chorus. And then on top, I just have a timeless delay, which is just a stereo widener to give it some more presence, because the song's very wide, but in the intro there's not much layers to it, so I wanted to broaden that guitar, give the illusion that it's wideness. And below that we have a really, really quiet guitar, but you can check out the automation on it. So the volume pans up, it all gets crazy. Well, it doesn't get crazy. The input gain is what happens. So towards the end here, it ramps, and that is what helps with the big punchy intro that you get, because you have this really quiet guitar flowing through. It's that. Right before this feedback, which I'll talk about now because it helps. So this feedback is what it is I wave my guitar. I'm obviously not using physical amps for this. This is all amp sims. So what I did, I cranked my speakers really loud, waved my guitar right in front of it to get the perfect bit of feedback. Ooh, and that's what it sounds like. That is once again just Morgan Amp Suite with a Rabia preset. Basically all the knobs are turned to 100. And that's what was recorded into it. And it gives just this beautiful bit of feedback to go straight into the chorus, and the transition kind of sounds like this. It just ramps up. I love it. I love feedback and noise. I think it really adds to something if it's not controlled, but if it's done in the correct way. Okay, and some layers behind the intro, behind the guitars and everything. There's this little bit of rain. Can't really hear it, but it's there. It's doing something. As well as that, there's this synth. Not quite sure where I recorded it from, but I'm pretty sure it's a Labs preset. I'm not sure, it's been printed a lot. Then this comes in. You've got what is another pad actually. So this pad here. Oh, let's put the bass. Just the pad on its own. It gives some more high end to it as the bass comes in. And obviously you got that big old sub bass 808 doing a lot. And then my actual favourite bit in this is the really quiet piano. It's another thing that you can't really hear that much, but I think it adds quite a lot. And all of the ambience layers together sounds a bit like this. And then with the guitars, it sounds like this. It's just super quiet in the background, not doing much. These are all printed, so I don't have whatever effects changes I did to them, but I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of saturation, nothing crazy. Yeah, so that goes into there. And then we have the first chorus, which I love, and I love what it does. I'll talk about some of the easier stuff first. We have this layer of drums here, programmed by my wonderful mate Laurie. Absolute drum wizard. Shout out to him on everything. He helped with the outro, which we'll talk about later. And that's what these drums are. It's an 80s kit from... I'm not sure actually. I think it was a Contact Vintage preset? Maybe, I'm not sure. And then we have bass. This really gritty. It's a lot of low end and a lot of dirt. And what that is... Oh, it was recorded on guitar. So this wasn't recorded on an actual bass. It was recorded on my guitar and then pitched down with parallax and then just a little bit of EQ. No EQ. That's in there for no reason. But it just gives this pumping kind of bass that you feel throughout the rest of the whole track. I love it. There's not much to say about it. It just sounds pretty neat. And yeah, so in the chorus, it's actually 4 guitars. Once again, Morgan Amp Suite. Love that. A little bit of a modified preset again. It's a lot of high end because there's a lot of low end as well. And I think when you get the bass in it, it builds up really nicely. They complement each other. Because the guitars, if I remember and can find it, yeah, a lot of it is carved out in the low end, which is nice and it helps to bring the excitement to the track. But what was really interesting about the 4 guitar layers is obviously I recorded them all. There's only so much you can get in sync and everything. And so what I did is, at least on these first 2 hits in each chorus where it goes, I wanted that to be perfect. I wanted to be absolutely perfectly in sync. So that's what I did. I think I spent like a couple hours going through all of the guitar hits in this, just to make sure these first ones were in sync. And I think it played off. I really did. I let it get a bit more loose as it goes through, but you won't really notice that. Back in sync. And that's the guitar tone on most of that. With the drums and the vocals, it sounds a bit like this. Give me a new disease, somewhere to sink my teeth. What am I doing with the chorus? So, yep, 2 of them are panned to the left, and the other 2 are panned to the right, giving you cute wall of sound, and then these chorus vocals. So the vocals in this was actually, there's a lot of processing in it, but they're doubled. Give me a new disease, somewhere to sink my teeth. I think I went through just, not hundreds, but a lot of layers of takes just to get exactly what I wanted in each thing. and there's a lot going on in them. But first of all, to once again, like the guitars, I wasn't able to match it by hand, so what I used was this really cool tool called Vocaline. So what this lets you do is you can capture the guide track in the double, and then it does everything for you. It's fantastic. Highly recommend that. Give me a new disease. What it does, it just matches up all the timings perfectly. It sounds fantastic in my opinion. And then what I'm doing on each of these, we've got a gate, pretty standard. Another EQ just to chop off the end, add some high end. Really tight, actually. Give me a new disease, somewhere to sink my teeth. Just a really tight compressor because it's a really dynamic. A lot of the rest of the track is dynamic, so I didn't want too much excitement in the vocals. Some saturation. There's nothing I love if not saturation. Give me a new disease, somewhere to sink. Just add some crunch. Love that. More EQ. A bit of soothe because I really like soothe. It tames the frequencies that you don't want. Not too much effort. It's lovely. Bit of Echo Boy. Another echo actually. And no, that's not enabled. It's just this echo from Echo Boy from Sound Toys. Give me a new disease. And it's just giving it a little something. That's all the same on the double. Give me a new disease, somewhere to sink my teeth. My love is skin and bone. Your heart can check its tone. And there's no background vocals in the chorus. It's all the same, nothing crazy. But that comes together. My love is skin and bone. Your heart can check its tone. It works pretty well. There's nothing crazy. Both doubles are in the center. They're not panned or anything at all, actually. Okay, next, moving on, we have the first verse, which is pretty simple. It's just the vocals, bass, and drums. The vocals have a little bit of different processing, nothing too different because I wanted some more air as it was just a single vocal. Dear diary, been calling out for your dreams. Pretty similar processing. And it's so a less aggressive compressor as it's just a single vocal and not a double. So I wanted more dynamics to it. Similar EQs. This isn't enabled on this one because I'm using a timeless preset, which is a wide delay to give it a bit more room. Without it sounds like this. Diary, been calling out for your dreams. And then with. And it's so sweet. I love timeless. I love a lot of Fab Filter stuff. I use it a lot. And then Pro R, which helps out. Just adding some more room to that. Dear diary, this is it without the reverb. Out for your dreams. And with. And it's so sweet. Just gives it a little something. And that's pretty much that entire thing. And then what is one of my favorite bits in this track is the bridge. So what happens here is the guitars go from 4 tracks down to 2, and that's purely to compensate for the fact that there's a lot more going on in the bridge with with 6 different vocal layers. I didn't need that much. I didn't need it to be that busy during everything. So these bridge vocals, they sound a bit like this on their own. Feels like I'm gonna lose it all. No one is gonna break my soul. There's nothing crazy about them. It's the same, but with a lot of bus processing. Another EQ, same as before. A less aggressive, so the same as the verse compressor, keeping it in a little bit of multiband to add some presence in the mids. Then a massive compressor, but that is with saturation, which helps a lot, I think, during this. It feels like I'm gonna lose it all. And give that little bit of crunch you can hear on the top end. Another EQ, and some de-essing because it's a lot, and then soothe again. These vocals were also, they were aligned with Vocaline again, just because it was so many it would take too long to do it manually. But the big thing about this is that it has a send, which is where you get the absolutely massive kind of black hole sort of delay. It feels like I'm gonna lose it all. Without it sounds a bit like this. It feels like I'm gonna lose it all. No one is gonna break my soul. Huge difference. It was the main thing I was going for here. And all that is it's actually the default timeless. Because I love the way that sounded, just with almost overpowering. But it just feels like you're getting sucked into it, which is what I love. There's nothing too special about these. The layers, it's 4 different normal vocals. Feels like I'm gonna lose it all. No one is gonna break my soul. Nothing crazy, and then to add some more, we have a really soft, almost a whisper of a vocal. It feels like I'm gonna lose it all. Just really quiet, adds a little bit of top end, a little bit of breathiness to it, and then a low version. Feels like I'm gonna lose it all. No one is gonna break my soul. Don't think that it's all about add some dynamics to the vocals, give it some more something. And then the middle 8, which is cool. It just sort of takes it down a bit. Not by much, actually, but it takes it down something. This is actually the only bit in the song where the guitar tone changes. Except for the intro, obviously. But it's different because it goes from this kind of sound, very wide, to very central, just so you can build up the excitement to that last chorus. There's nothing too special about this. There's nothing too special about those vocals. Just once again a double. I love doubles. I think it sounds a lot better. There are some guitar dubs at the end, which is just this. Sounds a bit bad on its own, but once you get it with it just builds up. It adds to the build up that you've got. And then so we've got all small build-up drums, which are these kind of massive, happy clappy sort of stuff. That's some drum effects, and then with the actual drums. And then we've got a nice build-up. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And then that just builds into the final chorus that we've got. Same as all the other ones actually, but what is nice is then we get to the outro, which I think is my favourite bit of the song. Help beautifully. This bit was beautifully engineered and produced by my mate Laurie, who helped this whole track. Lots of love to him. He is an absolute wizard. So what the outro is, I'll just play it in case you haven't heard it. So I sadly don't have the original file because this was recorded in his studio, so it's not on my computer. But what this is, so I didn't really want a guitar solo in this. It's not for an outro. I didn't want an outro guitar solo, but I knew I wanted something. So what we did, because as I said earlier, I love feedback. We were actually trying to record the intro feedback, which is this. So what we did in the end, we cranked an actual guitar amp in the studio, and I started waving my guitar around, was producing all these crazy noises, just a lot of electrical signals getting in. Recorded all of it. I think it was a couple minutes of just straight feedback, which obviously on its own sounds kind of crap. Nothing great in it. But what we did, because this wasn't expected, it wasn't written into the session that we were going to get this, but it came along and it was a beautiful surprise. Oh. It sounds scary. It sounds like kind of terrifying on its own, but I think it really works in the mix without any effects. So this is what the original I got from Laurie was. This is just ridiculous. So what we had from the feedback, we did... from the guitar feedback that we got, we put it into Melodyne, which is a sort of pitch editing software. And we just played around with the pitch until we found these melodies and we brought it out inside of the feedback. We've got these different notes. It's a lot of saturation. On my end, it's just a bit of a compression to take it down, and a bit of reduction in the high end, because it was a little too much. There's a lot of panning going on to bring some stereo wideness to it, which really helps. But it's haunting, is what it is. But it really works because it's almost like feedback, but it's not. Sorry, it's almost like a solo, but it's not. And it's stunning. It's terrifying. It's spooky, but it works. It's a lot less scary with guitars and everything. But yeah, that is pretty much the whole song. I love the outro. I love a lot of this song. It was a lot of work. This is a really old file. It was actually made 3 separate times before we came to this final version. But I'm really happy with it. And I hope you are too. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. I hope you enjoy hearing this breakdown of how it was made, with a little bit of the production tricks behind it. Honestly, nothing too crazy. So thanks for listening. Go listen to the song, play it on Spotify, add it to your playlists. Thanks.